In this video, we will learn about the sensory theory, which underlies the coffee value assessment. This theory comes to us from the field of sensory science, a discipline which has grown over the past 50 years to be an important and rigorous scientific field in its own right. The cupping portion of the coffee value assessment is a kind of sensory test. We use this test to assess the sensory attributes we associate with drinking coffee, including tastes, smells, flavors, and textures. In sensory science, sensory tests fall into three main categories. Discriminative tests allow us to measure the ability to tell two sensory stimuli, in our case, a coffee, apart from one another. The idea is to understand the taster's ability to discriminate between two samples. There are a number of kinds of discrimination tests, but the triangle test, also known as triangulation, is the most familiar to coffee people. The second kind of test is the descriptive test. A descriptive test is an analytical process of using words to describe a sensory experience. In coffee, descriptive tests are very important. They allow us to test the specific flavors that coffee has. These terms are used to communicate a coffee's sensory attributes throughout the supply chain. The third kind of test is the affective test, which measures a subject's emotional response to a sensory stimulus. It's in that affective category where we have ideas like quality and liking in foods. We use these three categories all the time in coffee, often without even knowing it. Here's a typical sentence which you can imagine being spoken in any cupping room anywhere. I tasted 3 coffees. I liked the third one. It tasted floral and sweet. It was the best. If you analyze this sentence, however, you can see it contains all 3 kinds of information. A discriminative claim that the taster can distinguish the third coffee from the others, a descriptive claim that it tastes floral and sweet, and 2 affective claims, one about liking and one about quality. These 3 ideas are distinct. We mix them up in our communications all the time. Therefore, it's no surprise that the previous SCA cupping form combined the 3 ideas of sensory tests together. In this image, you can see the affective portions of the form in gray, the descriptive portions of the form in blue, and the discriminative portions of the form in dark gray. Aside from the problem that these tests are different in terms of objectivity and subjectivity, more on that later, why does it matter whether these types of tests are mixed? Sensory scientists have long known that mixing tests leads to negative results. As Seidel et al. Say in their paper, misuse of sensory tests can occur when more than one sensory test objective is combined in a single test. Each test type requires a different psychological set and behavioral task from the subject. Combining tasks increases the risk that responses on one task will influence responses on the other. This is because of the way the brain works. Although most people believe that they are good at multitasking or doing multiple tasks at once, the basic architecture of the brain makes it so that when a person is doing more than one task, they are doing them both poorly. For this reason, we divided the descriptive and affective portions of the cupping protocol apart, which already had a separate physical evaluation portion. We call this approach the discrete tasks approach, and it enables us to apply specific discrete tasks to coffee evaluation. In our tests, this approach has led to a better, more thorough, fairer evaluation of a coffee's attributes. This is based on modern sensory and psychological theory, and we'll be exploring these elements in upcoming videos.